Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're lucky enough to be doing it to. I am Bushcron Blitz, and I'm back today having a run in this little number here, the British Tier 6 Medium, the Cromwell. And I'm doing it with my mate, Knight Rider, another member of the Grump clan. We've had a little bit of an injection of new blood of late, had some new fellas come in and have a chat, and it's been great fun, and I've got to play with a few different people. I'm going to be playing the Cromwell B throughout this one. It's the Tier 6 Brit Medium that I first really started using with my good mate Aegon V way back in the day when he would run exactly the same platoon as I am running here with Knight Rider, a KV-1S and a Crommy. And not the Cromwell B, sorry, the standard Cromwell. It's not the Bombwell. And that was a great fun time and really enjoyed it. It was a very innocent time for me. We were just learning how to play the game, and that's exactly what I'm still doing here. Like, it was just a good platoon back then, and it works a treat still now. Now, before I go any further, I haven't asked for a long time, but Patreon, if you'd consider becoming a member of Patreon, the Patreon community is pretty awesome. I've started putting up some more in-depth videos that are Patreon only of late. There is the Patreon chat channel. There are Discord voice channels if you want to use them, and I pop in there from time to time and say g'day. There's lots of stuff going on, and there's a Patreon podcast that comes out every Monday where I go through a lot of the stuff on the channel and all that. If you want to jump on there, that's great. If not, blah, 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 don't worry about it. Cromwell B's a great tank. Cromwell B, get out of it. The Cromwell's a great tank. It's really enjoyable. You're going to notice something I'm doing here that's a little bit different to the way I usually play, and that is I'm using auto-aim even in sniper mode. And that's because I've been playing a whole heap of ratings battles. And I've been running a lot of Object 140, and I've actually been trying to grind up to 5,000 in ratings, and I've got so close and then fallen, and got so close and fallen, and it's happened a couple of times now. And the 140 is such an amazing on-the-move machine for firing that you get used to playing it with the auto-aim on, even in zoom mode, and it just has incredible adjustment value. It'll just hit the target, hey. And for that reason, I've got the auto-aim on for this as well. Now, the Cromwell that I'm using here is just the stock standard. I've not put a whole lot onto it. You can see it's very much just not binoculars, optics, the crew protection mod, and what's the other one? Jeez, and the gun rammer. And because of that, it does fairly well, but it's not as strong as it possibly could be. It's on the move firing without vertical stabilizer, and the supercharge and the gun lane drive, or whatever you want to run, is very difficult. But I do have all the crew skills, so you know, having all the crew perks means that I'm actually doing quite well. And it's an incredibly effective machine. It's very, very quick. It's got a lot of damage per minute. It's got a lovely gun. Although you wouldn't be able to tell from me doing that there. That's me. That's not the tank. That is all me being an absolute clown. And it's got fairly decent penetration numbers. There are a lot of tier 6 mediums to choose from. There are, in fact, 14 tier 6 mediums, including premium. So it's hard to actually pick and choose, but the Cromwell is very, very good. It's not as good, I don't think, as the Cromwell B, the premium version of the Cromwell. And for one big reason. The Cromwell B has 13 degrees of gun depression. The Cromwell, if it misses out on anything, it is the gun depression. It's only got 8 degrees of gun depression. And because of that, you often find there's situations where you're just not quite able to get the shot off, like you saw there against the LTTB, where you would certainly be able to get that shot off in the Bombwell, or the Bromwell, or the Crommy B, or the Monster, the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller, the very, very lovely Cromwell B. And that means that, well, your effective DPM is great, but it can be hard to get some of those shots out, like there, where that extra bit of gun depression would have really helped. It does fairly well even when up-tiered, as long as you're clever with it and you don't expose yourself too much to enemy fire. You can see I'm trying to get rid of this Bulldog there for Knight Rider while dealing with the LTTB. The M41 finally goes, E25 gets him. Where it really stands out is mobility. It seems to have very, very good camo numbers, but mobility-wise, is lovely, and it's got good dispersion, good all those kind of things, and you can get it to some really solid numbers. But just to break it down, it does 64 kilometers an hour, which is lovely, and 20 kilometers an hour in reverse. So that's pretty solid, and it's got a horsepower to rate ratio of 25.78, and that's best in class. It really is. I mean, in terms of just flat out mobility, that's brilliant. You're not going to find anything really better as a tier 6 medium than that. And it's better by a fair margin behind, in front of just the VK3001D. The Cromwell B has the same horsepower to weight ratio. It's also got excellent traverse numbers. You can get this up to 62.31 degrees before you get a bonus from improved control or anything like that, which can take it all the way up to 67, nearly 70 degrees, which probably gives you an indication as to why I really enjoy driving it. Because I like mediums and I like lights and I like tanks that go really fast and allow you to influence the game and do so by spotting an issue and then moving towards it and exploiting it. And you can do certain things in heavies that you can't do in lights and mediums, and that's how it should be. And I find that is really important. Now, I'll show you a little bit here too from Knight Rider, because this is the end of a game where he carried, and you can see he's just tantalising that SU-152. And the 152 really wants to hit him and keeps coming back to him and looking at him. And this is, you can see Knight Rider is just literally showing him a bit of leg. The 152 is desperate. Misses the target. It gets a hit there, but just in the track, doesn't do anything. I think that was the case. And then he's waiting. The KV2 is going to come for him soon. And this was a tier 7 game too. So really good job on Knight Rider. Well done, mate. Sneaks out, just pulls the KV2 back around. Says, hello, Dorothy. Here I am. Come and get me. And then the T43 goes back around the back door and finishes off this KV2 here. He can't get the traverse going quick enough. And Knight Rider does the business over on the other side. Still just toying with them. Just dragging in. And thanks for the carry. There you go. Still, the KV2 is still after him. But yeah, there you go. Just gives up in the end. Well done. Yeah, I was happy to be carried there because we hadn't lost one in the run up to that point, I don't think. And it was nice to see us stick with the winning. So, a few things about it. Its aim time's pretty good. It's 2.0 something according to BlitzStars, which isn't quite correct. You're always going to get a bit of a difference between the BlitzStars. And I want to take this moment to thank Sockrobber. Dave, he's a really good bloke. I've had him on a podcast before. And you should be listening to the podcast, by the way. The podcasts are available on iTunes or whatever your Android app or whatever it is. You can just go there and find them. They're all over the joint. Just do a search in your podcast application and it'll pop up. But Dave or Sockrobber, if you've gone to BlitzStars and you want to support someone who's doing something for the community, his webpage is amazing for getting stats. And it's also got Tank Compare on it, which I use an awful lot for actually comparing the tanks when I'm doing reviews. Less for the perfect stats because sometimes the API doesn't report the stats correctly, but it does show the relative differences between the tanks and their stats. There's an old bug with this tank where it shows it as having 33 degrees of traverse, which is not correct. It's got a lot more traverse than that. But apart from that, the aim time on this is pretty good in terms of its class. But you're going to note I missed a lot of shots at the start because I had the audacity to be firing exactly like I was still driving an Object 140. And you're just not. And you've really got to take a little bit of extra time to get those shots in, or what you're going to find is they'll miss. Your aim time is really, there's only one tank that's slightly better than you, and that's the Schmalzer, the Schmalz-Turn, or whatever it's called, the Panzer that looks like a bit of a X-Wing fighter, TIE fighter rather, from Star Wars. Look at the flex on this thing though. We've gone all over the map here. It really does get out there and run. It's just like a little rabbit. It moves, and you're going to see I'm going to take a little bit more time with the aim here and get it done. I am guilty of a multitude of sins in my life, and one of my greatest fears is that I will actually get what I deserve. But one of the things that I know that I do and have a massive vice with, and you're going to see it here, is firing. I want to fire with a no zoom mode. I'm more worried here about getting the actual tank facing up so I don't lose any hit points. And then we just leave the KV-1 on his own and go and kill the leopard. But I find it so much cooler, and it's a lifestyle choice, to fire in no look, no zoom, than it is to fire zoomed in. It just feels aesthetically like giving up. And I'm not on PC where it's really easy to do, because you can just move the mouse around. You've got to use your thumb, and I've got a big fat Aussie thumb, so you're probably going to note that. Like, if you look at my intro, you'll see a lot of the stuff that I do is no scope. Particularly, there's an STA1 on Winter Melanovka where I'm sliding around him in a power slide and hitting him no scope, and it's just so much fun. Anyway, I digress. So it's a very mobile tank. It's got excellent DPM numbers. Really does pump out the damage. It's got good penetration numbers on its top gun. Like all these tanks, they generally suck stock. Particularly tanks like this rely so much on mobility before you get the crew skills ground and everything like that. And because of that quick backwards and forwards and really good acceleration off the mark, you can do a lot of little peek-a-boom things that are very, very quick and snappy. And I'm going to do that here. This is on Copperfield, one of my least favourite maps. Look at it go up that hill. I mean, that's a lot of power to weight. It can get up there very, very quickly. It's one of my least favourite maps, Copperfield, but it's less so at lower tiers. I find it to be exceptionally rubbish at higher tiers, just because at higher tiers the tanks are too big. They have too much firepower and just too much output for the size of the map. Anyway, you can see me doing a whole lot of that, going backwards and forwards here and snapshotting, and I'm helping and supporting my heavies over here because we've only got 2 heavies, and we've got a whole heap of mediums and such, and what I want to do is try and hold them here until they can actually get back, and then we'll like pincer them, the old Shaka Zulu thing. Love it. They're hip to that, so I'm going to have to readjust. It's a classic tank. It does a lot of things well. It does some things poorly. Like, you can see the gun depression there. If it had the 13 degrees of gun depression, it would be a lot nicer. And I'm really worried about that ARL. I find the ARL to be a very, very good tank, and he's one that I want to get rid of sooner rather than later. So I've readjusted. I want to get back up into him, just resetting camo, making sure everything's cool. Still holding on to the adrenaline rush in case I get pushed on, and just taking targets of opportunity. It's a classic tank. It looks classic. It's got a lot of history behind it. It's a legit World War II tank. So if people are really keen on that kind of thing, which I know I am, although I am now compared to how I was previously after going to Tank Fest and visiting the holy grail of the tanking community, so to speak, I still think lots of other tanks... Listen to that ARL. He's not happy. Cowards hit from behind. He's not happy. Cowards. Oh, God. You got to love them when they start screaming coward. That, you know, if they're calling your names like that, you know you're doing something right. It's a tank that I can highly recommend in a line that I thoroughly enjoy at tier 6 and 7. This and the Comet are 2 outstanding vehicles, and vehicles that you can do pretty much no wrong by. They are brilliant tanks. They're tanks that should be on everyone's wish list. And indeed, the Sent 7 and 1 at tier 9 is another tank which I think is outstanding. And Hesh will be back in patch 4.1, remember. Don't worry, boys and girls. Anyway, boys and girls, look after yourselves. Stay safe on the battlefield. Enjoy the raiding season. I know it's a bit controversial. It might not be for you, but you've always got your public games if you don't like the ratings games. No one's forcing you to play them. And until next time, bye for now.